Right. Okay. Welcome everybody. We're on week 1 of our new sequence. So we're just going to slow everything down and I'll do a little bit of hands-on and we'll just hold things. So less of a flow, much more of a sort of just moving between poses. That's your favourite week, isn't it? Or is week 2 your favourite week? Equally detested. Good. Love it. Well done for being here. That was extra good. I'll try not to make it too awful this week. So good to do week 1 and week 2, though. You appreciate the benefits. Yeah, that's what we say. Okay, let's start by lying down. We'll take the soles of the feet together, drop the knees out to the side, and take a few slow, deep breaths. Just begin to release the tightness and tension in the body and mind. Just allow yourself just to be relaxed. Just feel where you're touching the floor. Just feel yourself easing into the floor here. And then you can just start to scan up through the body, starting at the tips of the toes. Just moving the awareness through the legs, into the hips, relaxing, softening around the hips. Lower back, releasing, spine lengthening, shoulders relaxing. Soften around your face and jaw and the back of the neck. And then just release the scalp. And then moving into a fuller, deeper yoga breath, begin to fill up with breath and release the breath with the exhale. Just finding that conscious rhythm of breathing now. And if you haven't already done so, just shifting to the 3-part yoga breathing, just for a few more rounds of conscious connected breath. And then just release your attention, just allow the body and the breath to be as it wishes, to be soft and relaxed. And then gently just tugging the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. Release the lower back, the sacrum. Be conscious of the breath. Taking the arms wide, we'll drop the knees to the right, turn the head to the left, stretch out through the fingertips, twisting into the spine. Deepening the breath. And then bring the knees up and over the other way. And again, twisting the spine, stretching out through the fingers, deepening the breath. And then we'll place the feet flat to the floor and we'll come to our glute stretch, right ankle over left knee. Pulling in as you press the knee away. Begin to loosen into that hip, into the glute, steadying the breath. And then place the left foot down, and we'll extend the right leg up into a hamstring stretch. And we'll release and swap sides, crossing the left ankle over the right knee. And pulling in towards the chest, loosening into the hip, steadying the breath. And then placing the right leg down and extending the left leg up. Good, let's just move it to happy baby pose for a moment, just to loosen into the hips a little bit more. And then we'll rock up to sitting, extending the legs out in front, reaching for the feet, and just feeling length right through the spine, into the arms, upper back muscles, just deepening the breath. And then we'll swing the legs around. We'll take just a few rounds of cat-cow, loosening up the spine and really beginning to awaken the core, stretching the belly muscles as you move to cow and really engaging and tightening the muscles as you move to cat pose. And of course, really finding that breath connection. And then just stretch it back into an active child's pose, reaching the fingertips forwards. And then we'll tuck the toes under and move to downward facing dog and just start to pedal out the heels, feeling length into the backs of the legs. Let's step the right foot through, dropping the back knee, sinking the hips into a low lunge hip flexor stretch. Actually feels like it's blowing cold air around the room. It does, doesn't it? It's not just me. Yeah, it's really, I think it's because the air is so cold, maybe it's not able to heat it very well. And then we'll take a twist, And then we'll grab the back foot. And then we'll swap legs. Come to a low lunge on this side. And then add in the twist. And you can grab the back foot, if you can, into a quadricep stretch. And let's release, take hanging forward bend. And slowly roll up. And we'll roll the shoulders back, interlace the hands, just push and lift the chest open. And then working into the back muscles. And then just shake everything out. It is actually warm. We'll have to get you all moving to warm us up a bit. Any injuries I need to be aware of? No, everybody well? You're getting there energy-wise? Feeling a little bit stronger this week? Yeah. Good, okay. You'll slowly get there. That's good. Just in time for Omicron to come and wipe us all out again. God, will it ever end, honestly? All the Greek letters, was it? Oh, that's good. Oh, I see Omicron. Yeah, that's really good. Oh, gosh, don't know. It's not good. It's not good at all. It'll be fine. Wait, what day was it he did it last year? Was it the 22nd or 23rd? I can't remember when he cancelled Christmas. 21st? It was pretty close, wasn't it? Yule, that's Yule. So, yeah, we'll see if we can do better this year. Okay, a couple of deep breaths. We're going to just take one flowing round of low lunge sun salute just to get warm, basically. Let's inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping the right leg back, taking the knee down. Our 3 pulses. Big breaths, inhale, exhale. So the more you breathe, the warmer you will feel as well. And the more the body will start to open. One more. Sink down, exhale, inhale here. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step to plank, just hold plank for a moment. Check your alignment. Good. Dropping knees, chest, chin, release to the floor. We'll just take a high cobra here. Just enjoy high cobra, shoulders down, and then push back into child's pose. Tucking toes, down dog, 3 pulses here. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, heels squeeze down. 2 more. Inhale, up. Exhale, lower. 1 more. And then stepping the right foot between the hands, back knee to the floor. And 3 pulses. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 1 more. Sink nice and deep. Take an inhale here. Exhale, release. Inhale, stepping forwards, half lift. Exhale, fold, and enjoy a few breaths in your forward bend. Release, roll up through the spine. Inhale, the arms lift up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And left side, inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Left leg back, knee goes down. Inhale, arms lift up. Exhale, pulse. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. 1 more. Exhale, hold here as you inhale. Nice deep lunge and release. Good. Inhale, step to plank. Hold your plank for a moment. And then knees, chest, chin. Release down. Inhale, high cobra again. And push back, child's pose. Reset. Tucking the toes down, dog. 3 pulses. Inhale, rise up onto the toes. Exhale, squeeze the heels down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 1 more. And then stepping the left foot between the hands, back knee down. 3 pulses. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulse. 2 more. And 1 more. Good. Hold here for the inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale, step forwards, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Take a couple of breaths. And then release, roll up. Inhale, arms lifting up. And exhale. Take a breath. Good. And then just shake out. Right, so we're just going to hold a few moves. We're going to just check your alignment in some things. What I really want you to think about is plank pose, please. I'm seeing a few planks where we've got sort of hips a bit high or hips a bit sagging low. Some people, the plank's a bit far away, so just making sure that your wrists are right over your shoulders and your hips are low, but your knees are engaged, so there's no softness in the legs. So nice strong planks. And what was the other thing I was noticing? Yeah, just really thinking about your arms. There's still some limp arms going on when they come up. So really thinking straight elbows, strong, long fingers. And ultimately, if you don't have sort of neck, shoulder tension, tightness issues, who doesn't? But if you don't, you can start to think about bringing the palms together. As long as you don't feel this is happening, if you can keep the shoulders down, you can even, because that, once they're together, it's much harder to kind of have limp stuff going on. That really helps you sort of lengthen them. So if you've been doing this a while and that's a progression you want to take, that's fine. And we'll put an extra couple of moves in as well. Let's inhale, the arms lifting up. So again, it's a really nice place to join the hands here and just feel the energy out through the fingertips. Exhale, folding down. We're going to step the right leg back. We're going to turn the heel down. Just line up your heels here, because we're going to come up to warrior one and then float the arms up. So really make sure, Sandra, your back hip turns forward. So your back foot is at 45 degrees. Good. I know it's quite early in class, so Carolyn, bring your back foot forwards. So just think that you're, yeah, exactly. On the clock, you're at about 2, not at 3. That's it. And you're trying to pull the back hip round in line with the front hip. Lovely. And then again, take the energy into the fingertips. And ultimately, warrior one, you're supposed to be looking up to your fingers. So we call this the drishti point. Only if that's comfortable on the neck. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can look straight forwards. But if it's okay, then you're looking up into warrior one. Good. Now sink down another couple of inches. Take 2 more breaths here. And then we're just going to push the arms forwards and circle it back into warrior two. So this will be our flow. We're just going to do it a few times today. Push the warrior one forwards and then back. And one more time. Actually, what I did was this. Let's do that. Let's reverse the warrior. So you're actually reversing warrior one. So reverse warrior one, keep that front knee bent. That's exactly it. Feels a bit better, actually. Good. Keep lunging into the front leg. The back palm is facing down. Lovely. And you're really reaching for the back wall. Good. Circle the hands to the floor and step to plank for me. So if plank begins to feel too much, just drop the knees, but I'd like to have a quick look at everyone in plank, if you can hold it for a while. Lovely. Good, good. And yeah, you see you're all perfect now, aren't you? Lovely. Yeah, no problems. Okay, knees, chest, chin. That's it, keeping the elbows in, Carolyn, as much as you can. And then coming up to high cobra. So when you're in high cobra, make sure, is your pubis bone still on the floor? Okay, do not let your pubis bone lift off the floor. So the elbows stay slightly bent and in at the side. The pubis bone is down. Now, if that feels too much into the back, then you stay in a lower cobra. Exactly, Bridget, good. But otherwise, coming up, but keeping that connection of pelvis on floor, and then squeezing the shoulder blades down, finding the breath. Keep the breath through the nose, Sandra, if you can, not through the mouth. And then push back into child's pose. How's your shoulder? Any better? Oh, it's your elbow. Sorry, yeah. Okay. It's really taking time. And what you're modifying, that feels okay? As long as the yoga's not exacerbating it, that's what I want to make sure. Good. When you're ready, tucking the toes, downward facing dog, and just hold dog for me. We don't often hold poses in my classes, so let's just enjoy a few breaths in dog. If I'm coming around to adjust you, it's not because you're doing anything wrong, I'm just helping you get a little bit deeper. So Sandra, your dog's a fraction long. I'll bring your feet to about where my feet is there. Good, and then keep your hands still. You're coming this way. Good, keep pushing down through the palms. That's it. And yours is a bit short, so just lengthen it a bit for me. Good, spread the fingers, press the palms down. Good, now keep your hands anchored, and again, you're coming this way. Lovely, couple more breaths here, guys. I just want to do the same to Chris. Yours is a fraction long. Bring your feet in a bit, that's it. Now keep your hands planted and come this way. Push your heels down, that's it. Lovely, okay, drop the knees, just take child's pose for me, have a little break. Okay, so just looking up a sec, the move that we will do this month is called a down dog sweep. You don't have to do it, okay? But what it will look like if you are going to do it is it's a chest press up. So tricep press ups, the elbows go back. Chest press ups, the elbows go out. So from down dog, you're going to do a chest press up until you nose dive to the floor, and then you come to your up dog or your cobra. And then you'll push back to downward facing dog. So you're diving the nose to the floor, coming all the way up into your back bend, and then back to downward facing dog. Now, if that's a little bit too strong for you, you can just come to plank, drop your knees, lower down, take your back bend, and then go back to dog. Or you can just hang out in downward facing dog. Okay, so just to try a couple of them today. You're going to be in down dog. And you can either come to plank and drop the knees and go from there, or you literally bend the elbows from dog, taking your nose down between your thumbs, and then coming forwards. Don't land on your nose. Don't car crash onto your nose. And then pushing it back into down dog. I'm wondering if there's a better way, a more modified way of doing this. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, to get the chest press up benefits, that's quite a good modification is you drop the knees, do the chest press up, and then push back to dog. So then we are working the chest instead of the triceps, so that might be a good modification. Otherwise, you can attempt to come down, up and back. Good, so the point of this move is because we do a lot of tricep work with chaturanga, and here we're working the chest press a little bit. So when you've tried a couple of those, just finding your way back to down dog. I'm going to step to warrior one. Again, right leg forwards this time, turning the back heel down, sweeping up to warrior one, so we're on the other side. So a bit longer, make your warrior one longer, yeah, better, and think about the back foot. So now you're at 10 o'clock or 10:30, yeah? So you're not at, is that right? Yeah, 10 or 10:30, not at whatever that is. Because my clock's backwards, you see, so it's very hard for me to work out your backward clock. That's it. So in Warrior One, it's really important, basically, that you don't leave the toes behind. Because what happens is if you try and pull this hip round with your toes facing that way, the knee does not want to do that, yeah? Half the knee's that way, half the knee's this way. So you've got to get your toes pointing the way your knee is going. Otherwise, it will twist it. Warrior Two is different because you've turned the hip out. So in Warrior Two, we turn the back toes out. But in Warrior One, we're trying to get the hip this way, so the toes need to be that way too. So let's just find that lunge, and it will still feel a bit strong on the knee. And so if you've got knee issues, Warrior One can feel a bit too much for some people, in which case high lunge is your alternative. So just one more breath here, and then we're going to do that push to reverse warrior. So you push through, and then keeping the front knee bent, you flip your warrior. Good, and again, push forwards and flip. Should be quite nice in the shoulders and chest. One more. Push and flip. And just hold your reverse warrior for a moment, because we're on the other side. Palm facing down, elbow straight. So you're thinking this line all the way through the arm. So you can just turn your front toes forward a bit more. That's it. Keep this knee bent and then lean back. That's it. Slide that hand down. That's it. Good. Bridget, just straighten your elbow and reach through the fingers. So you're trying to touch your fingertips to the wall behind you. Lovely. Good. And then bring the hands down to the floor and step forwards this time. Take a hanging forward bend. And then we'll roll up through the spine. Inhale, the arms lift. Exhale, hands to heart. Other side, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, fold. Stepping the left leg back, finding Warrior One. So we've just been here. We've just been on this side. So finding that Warrior One. Good. Just straighten up your front toes for me, Carolyn, and maybe make it a bit longer. Think about your back foot. It's still looking a little bit like 9 o'clock. That's it, 10:30. Get the shoulders and hips round. Lovely. Okay, push forwards once. That's your inhale, and that's your exhale. And again, get the breath in. X. One more. Exhale. Good. Circle the hands to the floor. Get that lovely plank, which I know you can all do now. Good. One more breath here. And then let's take knees, chest, chin, and release to the floor. Keep that pubis bone down as you roll up to your high cobra. Elbows in, shoulders down, chest lifting, and push back into child's pose. Good. Just reset your breath for a moment. Good, so just watch me again. I thought of another modification for this down dog sweep, is that maybe you just don't go down as fast. You're in your down dog, you bend your elbows as far as you feel you can hold yourself, and then you just sort of dip the hips with my toes still tucked under, and then back to down dog. So it'll look more like that. And then you're still getting the work in the chest. The full pose is to try and get the nose towards the floor and then to come up into up dog and back. So just trying those, or you can drop the knees, do a little chest push up and press back to dog. Let's just do a couple like that. Getting the chest to work. And then finding your way back to down dog. And then left foot's going to come forwards and we're back to Warrior One. And again, we're thinking 2 o'clock or 1:30, not 2:30, 1:30 with the back toes. Trying to get this hip forward. You've all heard me probably use the analogy, you've got a torch or a headlight on each of these hip bones. You don't want one torch shining off into the field. You want them facing me, both your headlights, like on a car. And these have got headlights on them too. So in Warrior One, all your headlights are pointing forwards. Can you go down a little deeper, Bridget especially? Good, and then we'll inhale and we'll exhale. And again, we'll inhale and we'll exhale. Good, one more. Push forwards and then circle the arm up and over. Good. And then windmill the hands to the floor. Lift your back heel so that your knee is protected. And we'll step forwards, inhale. Exhale, fold. Just hang there for a moment. And then slowly roll up. And inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Sorry, I went for an early drink there. Good job. So we're just going to add a couple of postures to that, and that's all for our standing sequence this month. It's not very long. So we'll flow through the ones we've done, and we'll slow down on the ones that are new, and I'll just have another check of everything. So coming to the front of the mat, a couple of breaths. Good, inhaling the arms up, exhale, forward fold. We're going to step the right leg back and come up to Warrior One. Inhale. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, push forwards. Exhale, circle it up and back. And again, inhale. Exhale, circle. One more. Exhale, circle. And then taking both hands to the floor, lift your back heel and step to dog, because here is our vinyasa. So you take your dive into your dog to come to your vinyasa. So you can decide how low you go, and then trying to get up into the back bend, and then back to dog. And just holding dog for a moment, resetting the breath. And then right foot steps to Warrior One. Lifting the arms up, getting the back foot turning forwards, your headlamp shining towards me, shoulders down, energy through the fingers. Exactly, Annabelle, drishti up if you can, and maybe the hands start to come together if you've got the space for that. And then we're going to push just once as you inhale, exhale back, and we're coming to side angle pose. So you need to correct your back foot. So my foot's in a Warrior One position. Parsvakonasana, side angle pose, is like Warrior Two. The feet are at 90. So you just correct the back foot sort of as you're moving between the postures. And then one elbow to the knee or fingertips to the floor and the arm all the way over the ear. Good. So Sandra, just correct your feet to 90 degrees, please. Your front foot forwards. Yeah, so that one needs to turn out and that one out. Yeah, exactly. And I would lengthen your stance quite a lot as well. That's it, good. Keep rolling your top shoulder back. Good. Good, all the way over for this one. And then you can roll it that way. Can you roll just the arm in the shoulder? That's it. Relax it. And now pull it down here. Good. I think Ailsa and Annabelle should have their hands on the floor. Oh, okay. Just checking. You're on your way there, are you? That's fine. Carolyn, straighten the arm for me. Energy out through the fingertips. That's it, lovely. And can you lunge a little more? Yeah, you see, you could go there as well. Beautiful. And Chris will when her elbow's better. Lovely, good. Stay there while I work out what's next. Right, hands to the floor, lift your back heel. Sorry, guys. Left hand down, right hand up. Just enjoy the twist. It's more of a release than anything. Sure, Sandra, if you want to take your back knee on the floor, guys, do so. This is a releasing posture. Good. Now we're going to standing split. So both hands coming down in front, and you're going to pick up the back leg. Now, I know that not everyone can straighten the front leg in this pose, and that's fine, but you all can straighten your back leg. You need to kick out into the back knee and point your back toe, even if it's at 90. Eventually, you want it at 180. So begin to think that as you take the foot towards the sky. Lovely, Annabelle, good height. And then last step is to begin to draw your head towards your knee if you can. Good. And then release the hands and feet together. Were you getting a cramp in it?
Yeah.
In the standing leg or the lifting leg?
Standing leg.
The standing leg. Yeah. That's just fatigue from it. Good. And when you're ready, roll up to stand. Next week, we'll go from standing split to warrior 3 and then come up. But it's faster. It's easier to do that. Let's do the other side. Inhaling up. Exhale, fold. Stepping the left leg back, coming up to warrior 1. Inhale. So just setting up your feet. Sandra back foot. Toes forward a bit more. Good, you're at 1:30. And lovely, Elsa. Good, Annabelle, lovely. Yeah, great, everybody. And then inhale forwards. Exhale, flip. And again, inhale forwards. Exhale, flip. One more time. Just enjoy that opening through the arms. Exhale. And then we bring the hands to the floor. We step straight to dog. And you can do your little doggy dip thing, finding that chest press vinyasa for a change, and coming back to dog. And then we're going to step the left foot between the hands, back heel to the floor, coming up to warrior 1 first, and then inhale, push, exhale, flip. And then adjust your back foot to 90 degrees as you make your way to side angle pose. And also side angle pose, the feet are a little bit longer, a little bit lengthier than warrior 1, because it comes to warrior 2 really. So the way to, just release for a sec. This is quite an important thing that I want to tell you. So sometimes yoga teachers will do what I've just done and basically link 2 poses that don't really correctly link, i.e., warrior 1, the feet are closer together and the back toes are pointing forwards. Parsvakonasana is more like warrior 2. It's longer and the feet are at 90. Yeah? So with that knowledge, you've got to sort of shimmy your feet as you're transitioning. And it's a bit of an art that you get used to. But basically, watch what my feet are doing. So I'm going from warrior 1 to Parsvakonasana. Do you see how I actually lengthened and shifted my back foot in a split second? So just get used to that sort of adjusting the position of your feet whilst you're transitioning from one pose to another, to make sure that you're always looking after your knees, basically, because that's the difference. It's not that the yogis are fussy about where your feet should go. They're placing your feet in the best position for your knees to be safe. So in warrior 2 and Parsvakonasana, you want your knee in a different position than in warrior 1, okay? So let's try that transition, just coming up to warrior 1. In fact, we're coming at it, inhale from reverse warrior, and then make your way to side angle pose and just transition your feet to make it slightly longer and slightly more 90 degrees with the feet. Lovely. You're all there. Good. And it's just having that awareness of foot placement as you move from pose to pose. Lovely. Good, a couple more breaths. So Bridget, just coming back more this way. Can you come even more? Yeah, good. And then let's bring the hands down, come to standing split. So you want to turn the hips forwards first. That's it, lovely. And then kick up through the back foot, great. Good. Yeah. All looking good there, and release. Forward fold, just hang there for a moment. And then let's roll up to stand. Inhaling the arms up, and exhale. Take a deep breath in, and exhale. Good, and then shake everything out. You're done with the standing. It's actually, I won't go into too much detail tonight with this because I'm actually going to do a little workshop on it. But it's also all about energy and prana. Okay, there's a lot of modern research into fascia and looking at the movement of energy, which in the Indian system they call prana. In the Chinese system they call qi. You've probably heard of meridians and qi. Well, it's been very hard for Western scientists to prove the existence of this. They have failed to do it for hundreds of years. But now, looking at living fascia tissue, they're beginning to find that this idea of moving communicative energy might actually be really happening in living tissue. It's very exciting. And what the point of yoga is, this is why it always makes me cross when people compare yoga to Pilates or other kinds of stretching, is that the yogis were designing poses not that were most anatomically suited to muscles and ligaments and tendons. They weren't interested in that. If you go and talk to a PT in a gym now, that's what they are training. They are training your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your bones. They are making those things stronger or more flexible or more cardiovascularly strong, depending on what your goal is. They are not looking at meridians, chi, and prana. The yoga poses were. This is why you end up in these like really weird places going, why am I doing this right now? It's because the yogis were thinking about meridian lines, yeah? And all the yoga poses are designed to open energetic pathways in the body. They weren't thinking about muscles, okay? So this is why yoga is so unique. Tai Chi is similar, so is Qigong, these Chinese systems. They are working with meridians, okay? Or in the Indian tradition, they call them nadis. So when you're getting into a yoga pose, the alignment is not just about protecting your joints, obviously that's key, but it's also about getting energetic pathways. This is why ultimately you want to be here, because this is a very energetic circle that this is not. Do you see? Because now I'm joining the movement of the energy. And things like when you come to triangle, ultimately you want to be reaching for your toe or your ankle or your foot, because again, you are connecting a circle of energy. So I'll talk more about this later, but that's what we're also thinking about when we're getting into these shapes, okay? It's not just about training muscles. Okay, so we're going to move down to some floor work now. We'll vinyasa our way down. Just taking a deep breath here. Let's inhale the arms, lifting up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step to plank, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga now. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And when you're ready, we'll step or hop to sitting, and we'll straighten the legs out in front. So we'll just start with Dandasana. I always say this is a deceptively easy, difficult pose because people think it's just kind of sitting. But you want to flex your feet, have your feet together. You want to lift your kneecaps and work your quadriceps. Exactly, Elsa. You want your hands either sides of your hips, but pushing your palms down into the mat, squeezing your shoulders away from your ears, lovely. And then chin to chest, so the back of the neck is long. Good. So there's a lot of engagement going on in what looks like a simple seated posture. And then we're going to move from here into Paschimottanasana, which is essentially a forward fold. But before we fold forwards, we always want to get this idea of lifting. I always imagine that the rib cage and the hips sort of come apart, you know, like some bionic person. So I've got the whole of this is my rib cage and this is my hip girdle. They're both quite big sort of boxes. And I'm literally separating the boxes. We all want another inch in our waist. So let's make one happen here by just lifting that box of ribs away. And then the challenge is to try, it would be very easy to then go like that, but the challenge is to try and keep that and go that way. Yeah, trying to get forwards and not just down as you go. And it's really important that when you take a forward bend, you're not just thinking, I'm taking myself to my knees. You're going for your big toes. You're trying to kiss your big toe. So it's literally finding that length, ribs out of hips as you go. And then what you get when you do that is, of course, you get a hamstring stretch because that's what you always get with a forward fold. But hopefully you're feeling a lot in the upper back as well. You're feeling a lot of length in the spine, a lot of length into the lats we talk about quite a lot of stretch in the upper back. And then you just find that breath and find that release with the exhale. And we're going to take a few more breaths here. I'd like to come and give you all a little adjustment here, which my teacher used to do for me, that gives you length from a slightly different place than you expect. Do you feel how that kind of changes the pose a little bit? Yeah, it's kind of length. So for those of you on the video, just doing it on the video, I'm lengthening people from their lower backs, from their sacrum, rather than from the waist and up, because that's what people think when they fold forwards. They think of lengthening from the upper half of their back, but you're actually lengthening from your seat, if that makes sense. We got your toes. Oh, you're such a squishy mat.
I know.
I'm just going backwards. I don't think you're going forwards.
I am.
Okay, good. Oh.
Yeah, hopefully I'm getting a new one.
I hope so too.
I'm really not flexible, so I don't.
That's okay. That's what I'm here to give you, a bit of extra flexible. When I started yoga, I couldn't get past a little bit below my knees.
Wow.
So if that's an incentive, and that was only in my 20s, it wasn't like 1,000 years ago. So do you all just feel that that's just a little bit of a different way of lengthening forwards? Good. So we're going to counter that with a back bend. And the full version is reverse plank, which looks like that. But the thing about reverse plank is you want your hips, shoulders, and feet in one line. You don't want to be here. And the best way to get that is to try and get your big toes. Do you see the whole of my foot is in the floor? It's quite hard to do. A lot of people end up doing this. But you can give that a go, or you can take tabletop. But again, no sagging tables. I would love to get my cup of tea flat on you. Good. And so you're really getting that lift through the hips. Great, Elsa. Pushing the toes down, lifting the chest. And then if you feel safe, you can take your head back and look behind, but that's only if you're comfortable in the neck. Great. You don't need to be there forever. A couple of breaths. Well done. You were there forever. And then when you're ready, come down. So it's a really great pose because what it does is it lengthens the front of the body after you've lengthened the back. But it's such a big strength builder, not just in the arms, but also so you can feel through the legs. Good, so just release that. We're not going to worry about vinyasas tonight. Too much to do. Okay, Janu Sushasana A. So again, a pose we do a lot. I've got a bit of a sore knee, so I'm going to do my right side as well, but you go ahead and take your right side. Now, you've heard me say before that the position of your foot will depend on your flexibility. So if you are quite tight in the hips, or you're quite new, or your knee is lifting, that's a really good indication of how open your hips are. If your knee is here, your hips are tight. If your knee is flat on the floor, you've obviously got open hips. Come on, you can, yeah, never force the knee down. Okay, you can push here. In fact, I had a private client once who I gave this pose to quite a lot to practice, and she had two small dogs, and she would stick one on each thigh. And, you know, I was very careful to say, don't put them on your knees, because, again, you don't want to force your knees, but putting something here on your thigh is fine. A small dog is good. So if you're not very open, then your foot will be on your left inner thigh, and the closer to the knee, the stiffer you are, yeah? So as you get more open, you start to move it towards your groin. If your knee is super low, you can actually shift your heel onto the groin side, same side. Does that make sense? So now my heel is in my right groin, not my left groin. And what that does is you can see my knee is a little bit bigger than 90 degrees now. And that's the full pose, is to have your knee a little bit more than 90. But if you're not there yet, it will feel more like 90 or perhaps even 70, whatever. But the point is that as that leg opens, you start to move that way with your torso. And then you want to get that lift, and you want to rotate back over your left leg. So you don't want to go forwards, you want to go over your left leg. So there's a little bit of a lift, hoik, and forwards before you reach. And the reason that's in place is now hopefully you'll feel a stretch in your lower right back. Do you feel it? It should be in the right hip, but it should also be in the lower back on the right side. And I'll give you a little adjustment to help you find it. And what often happens in this pose is people find the right shoulder, you're doing it a little bit, is a little bit higher than the left. So again, you want to try and get the shoulders equal. There, do you feel the lower back stretch a little bit there? Good. So you're quite tight in your hips. Mm-hmm. It might be worth sitting cross-legged a little bit more. Just in life, in general.
Oh, right. Sorry, I see what you mean.
And the best way to do it without like ending up on the floor whilst you're watching TV, which you don't want to do, is just to put one foot underneath you when you're sat on a chair or a sofa, if you can, even just for 30 seconds, and then switch. So imagine you're on the chair, so you might just stick one foot under you and then you'll sit on the chair like that, and then maybe you'll swap. And what it will do is it will just teach your hips to open up. Right. Yeah, or lie in bed reading like that. So you're just getting the legs to turn out during the day, not just once a week in yoga, because unfortunately it will take a few lifetimes if we rely on that. But you do want to get it, not for your yoga practice, but because it will really help your hips as you age. You know, you want to have that lateral rotation in the hips. You've got really open hips, Sakara, there. See, tight hamstrings, but open hips. We all have one advantage, if not all of them. Can you feel the lower back stretch a bit there? Great. Good. And gently release the leg out. Give it a little shake. This must be a really boring video. I always think week one must be just a picture of my mat and me off down there talking. Okay. So let's do the other side. So again, just setting up according to your flexibility, and don't assume that it's the same on both sides. For instance, this knee's a little bit less comfortable than my right knee, so I won't be as open on this side. And you may find that one side of your pelvis, if it's slightly tipped or slightly dropped, will mean that you don't have as much flexibility in both legs. So just feel your way into the pose on the other side. And again, you're trying to get that lift and twist by dropping the left shoulder down so that it's in line with the right shoulder. And also that sort of rotation of the rib cage as you reach forward, and then you'll feel it through the lower back, right into the sacrum, and just softening that knee to the floor at the same time. Just steadying the breath. And then we'll come up, and on this side we'll move straight to our twist. So you can just bring the left knee, I'll mirror you now. Bring your left knee forwards and step your right foot over the top. So if you want to modify, then the foot can be next to the shin bone. Exactly. If you want to go full pose, it goes all the way over the knee to the thigh. Now, if you find that your right buttock is up off the floor, you want to try and squeeze it back down. That can be quite challenging. And it can help to sort of get your thumb, stick it into that hip, that space between your leg and hip, and just push it down. And then you might be able to get your hip back to the floor. And then, of course, you don't want to be sinking, you want to be lifting. And the best way to get the lift is just to hug the knee in and then get that lift and length. And then it's a twist, so you're either going to hug or possibly hook your left arm around your right knee and start to look over the shoulder. And the thing with twists is that they don't happen straight away. They're like glutes, particularly glutes, I always think. That if you're here for a few breaths, you'll start to find, I would get your elbow outside the knee. Yeah. You'll start to find that the spine just begins to twist a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. And you can, of course, use the pressure of the arm against the leg to twist you more. So it's either the hugging or the hooking, that pressing that arm against the knee that takes you into that rotation. Good. And still always finding that height as well. Lovely, lovely straight spine. Good. And then just release, straighten out the legs. And let's just find that twist on the other side. So we're going to come back to our first side. And I'm going to make you right knee comes in front and left leg over. And then just get your thumb into that crease, into your hip crease, and try and get that left sitting bone back to the floor. And then the right arm hugs or hooks, and you want that lift, ribs away from hips, and then press the arm against the knee to take you into that twist. It also helps to pull the belly in. I know that sounds like an obvious statement, but the moment the belly's engaged, you'll find that you've got more capacity to turn the upper body. Good, and release. Well done. Let's just stretch out those legs one more time. Okay. Pigeon. Yeah, okay. So I've got plough in this class, and I think it would be quite useful to look at plough and shoulder stand. Okay, so couple of things. When we go up into shoulder stand, I always say you can modify it. This is the modified version. You'll see I'm holding the widest part of my hips and my legs are at 45 degrees. This means there's no weight on my neck at all and my head is completely free, and that's a good option if you've got a lot of tightness or you're a bit heavier on the lower half than you are on the upper half, which is quite a female thing to be. You might want to take that option. Full shoulder stand, you're upright, and your hands are much more towards your rib cage, up on your ribs, and you're trying to get your hips over your shoulders. There's a lot more kind of strain on my neck, really, but you want the weight to be back into the elbows, not all dumping into your neck. So taking that option. And then when you come over to plough, if your feet don't touch the floor in plough, you keep your hands here on your hips. It's only when the feet get down to the floor, you'll see people releasing their arms, and that's fine. That's because some of the weight is now in my feet. And then another option from there that's lovely is to release your knees, either to drop them to your forehead, or if you can, you squeeze your ears with your knees, and then we'll roll down and take fish pose. So just coming to either, and of course, if you're in your period or you do have shoulder or neck injuries, just sticking the legs up the wall is such a nice option. You just get your hips alongside the skirting board, lift your legs, twist, and your bum is up against the wall and your legs go up. And there's still a lot of benefit in that because we're just basically trying to get our legs higher than our hearts because we're reversing the flow of the lymph system and challenging the heart a little bit as well. Like I said, if you're a bit heavier in the lower half, it can be quite hard to get it hips off the ground. But don't worry, persevere. And if it feels too much on the neck, then you just take the alternative. That's great. So once you're in the full shoulder stand and you've got a nice strong shoulder stand, bring the elbows in towards each other now. That's it. You wriggle the elbows in this way. Okay. And it kind of takes you, are you all right? Too much on the neck? Yeah, okay. That's where you'd be going with it. And then you can begin to lower over into plow. And if your feet touch the floor, you can release the hands, otherwise just keep them where they are. Well done, Carolyn, good. And as you're noticing, it's quite hard to breathe in these poses because your lungs are compromised, your diaphragm is compromised. So the challenge is to really cultivate that breath in, that breath out. Really cultivating that good, strong breath despite being in this awkward position. And then can you drop your knees to your forehead or possibly hug your ears? Very good. I love these stretches because if you're anything like me, I suffer with a lot of shoulder neck tightness. You know, I'm quite like tense up there. So these poses are like the only poses that really open this stuff up. So they're really good to do at the end of the day. Slowly roll down. And then another stellar posture is fish. And the reason this is such an important pose is you've heard me speak a lot about the modern day pose, which is, I'm exaggerating it, but this is 21st century posture. Yeah, it's driving, it's TV, it's writing, it's typing, it's all this shape, yeah? And what happens, I've seen it in my husband, bless him, because he's a techie, is that unfortunately the spine gets so tired of holding itself like this with muscles that it starts to create a knitting of fascia, a network, a webbing of fascia that will hold you there without the muscles having to do the work anymore. It takes about 20 years, but you will see people eventually be stuck like this because the muscles have given up and the tissue has taken on this shape so that they don't need to hold you like that anymore. Once that happens, it's really hard to undo, yeah? It takes a lot of work of the fascia to get you back up to here. So it's really important that we open this up, okay? Its natural shape is a forward bend. You know, the lower back is curved that way, and the neck is curved that way, and this part of your spine is curved, you know, that way. But you don't want it to become pronounced, yeah? So you want to get it open. And you've heard me talking before, if you do suffer with this, what happens first is that you get neck issues because you don't want to be looking like that. So whilst the shoulders are like this, you start doing this, and then you start to get neck problems, yeah? And very often you start to get shoulder problems, hip, everything, you know, goes out of position. So fish pose, really good for this. And if you struggle to get this area open or you do start to get those issues, lying on a football or a bolster or a cushion so that you're just holding this shape for periods where you can just really relax into it and just breathe is really good. But in fish pose, you're getting the same position, but then you can see my elbows are by my sides. You can keep pushing the elbows and trying to get a bit more height, a bit more height, a bit more until you're really getting a nice sort of lifting through the heart. And you may feel a few cracks in the thoracic spine, always feels really nice. And it's just a really important posture to get into. Great. And release and gently just soften the area out. I do fish maybe 3 or 4 times a day because I literally get to a point where I know I've been sat for too long and everything's locking. And then I will get off my chair, I will lie on the floor in the middle of whatever it is we're doing and do a fish pose. I'll kind of crack it all out and then I'm okay again. So it's really important not to let this stuff lock out. Okay, let's just finish by hugging the knees into the chest. And we'll take a twist, taking the arms wide, and just dropping the knees to the side. And let's just let the cerebral part of the practice go now. There's been a lot of sort of talking and thinking, and it is a very sort of academic practice, week 1. But then I want you just to come back to intuition, sensation, for the last few moments of class, and just notice how your body feels. Any of those moves were new to the body, or the muscles aren't accustomed to moving in that way. And then gently switching sides. And of course, we don't focus nearly enough on the breath in week one. So just do that for me now. Just make sure that the body is tuned into breathing, that you're fully and pleasantly oxygenated. Because actually it's amazing how much just breathing can change and shift in both the body and the mind. Sometimes just relaxing the shoulders and taking 3 deep breaths is all it takes to really shift yourself. And then just taking yourself to Shavasana. And we'll just lie here for 2 or 3 minutes. Please not thinking. Give yourself that space, that permission to just really be at one with your breath and your body and the space around you. And then when you're ready, just taking the arms up and taking a couple of really deep full breaths and exhaling any remaining tension away. And again, deep inhale and full exhale. And hugging the knees into the chest. And gently making your way up to a seated position. And let's finish as always, I like to, with just a moment of feeling gratitude for whatever you feel is worth being thankful for in your life. We acknowledge the light that shines within us. Om Shanti Namaste. Thank you all very much. Well done. Not a very easy class. Well done, everyone.